an idea for a reusable paint tray completely transformed and changed my life. A few years ago, I had a small business where I was refinishing and restoring furniture, and I got sick of going through the flimsy plastic paint tray liners that are the standard on the market, trying to tie a plastic bag around my paint tray to keep my paint fresh for extended periods of time. I have 2 little kids at home and a fluffy dog, and I just did not have a great way of setting aside my paint and keeping it fresh when life happens and things get in the way or if I had to run errands. So I searched high and low for a reusable option and nothing came up. So that is how I had the idea for the Repaint tray. It's a reusable silicone paint tray liner with a lid. So essentially it keeps your paint fresh for up to 21 days when you need to set it aside. And what makes it reusable is you let the paint dry in it and then you can just peel it out, wash your liner and lid with soap and water, and you're ready to use it again for your next project. Which again, I show right here is you just simply pour your paint into your paint tray, paint your project, then if you set it aside, you can put the lid on the paint tray, keeps your paint fresh for up to 21 days. I put my roller and my paintbrush in there. Once you're done, let the paint dry, peel it out, rinse and repeat. Needless to say, this exploded when I had the idea for it. I don't have a background in engineering, I don't have a background in design, I don't have a degree in business. My background is I have a degree in marketing and communications. And I just have a creative spirit. I've loved working on home improvement projects and figured if I had this problem, then other people might be having this problem as well. So I put it out there and I ordered the minimum amount of paint trays I could possibly buy, and it sold out within 4 months of me launching into the market. And it started with just a simple sketch, a little idea that I put on a piece of paper of what I wanted to make it look like, maybe what a logo would look like. And then I worked with a friend and also the local community college, not Ellsworth, I should say, Nyack, and I worked with their engineering department, and I had them put together a 3D design to see what this could possibly look like so I could start developing it. And so I figured, okay, if somebody has a product idea, you have to prototype it and see if this actually works. Well, we're a single income household at the time. I was staying home to try and do my furniture flipping business and wasn't drawing an income from it yet, and my husband was supporting our family, so I needed to do it as cheap as possible. So I went to the dollar store. I bought foam board that you see kids use for school science projects, and I had some leftover plastic paint trays. I hot glued it upside down, and then I ordered raw silicone from a Hollywood prop shop. I called them and I just said, I need raw silicone. This is kind of what I'm working on. What can you give me? And he said, well, it's 2 parts, part A, part B. You pour it together, you got 5 minutes to work with it, and then it dries. I'm like, okay, great. How much is it? He's like, $50. I'm like, perfect. So all in all, I probably spent like maybe $52 on this whole project to be able to prototype it. My first prototype was rough, but the good thing is it worked. And so I figured, okay, I can move forward with this. And then it turned into me being able to get an official working prototype so that way I could see exactly what this might look and feel like when presenting it to customers. After that was all said and done, then it moved into the most expensive part of being able to get the tools and the molds made to be able to produce the actual product. A lot of people have this misconception that when you have a product, you can just make it, when in fact, if it never existed before, you have to create the tools to be able to make the product. And so these tools cost me a little over $30,000 just to be able to produce it. And from there, once it's finalized, then I was able to actually see the final product of what it would look like on the shelf and what we deliver to our customers. There's this myth in entrepreneurship that somehow there's this overnight success. And I think when I was going through this journey, and I think even today, a lot of people see like this very beginning part and then the end, like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden you've hit these huge milestones, when in fact this process took me 3 years. All the way from the sketching to the prototyping to the final design and getting it out there. And then in the middle of it all, I decided to have another baby. And so we had my son, and 2 weeks after he was born, I filed my patent for the Repaint tray. I remember sitting on the couch, I was nursing my son, and I had my other hand free to be able to type on my laptop, building my website and talking to attorneys. And some days I don't know how I still did that, but I'm grateful for that process because I think, you know, just trying to find the balance between it all and seeing how powerful you can really be when you set your mind to something. So then it came time for me to be able to order the inventory. My first run of inventory, like I mentioned, I ordered the minimum amount, which was 5,000 units. And that felt like such a huge number because I thought, okay, there are a lot of people interested, but I don't know that many people that would want to buy this paint tray, nor do I have the money to advertise or do anything really yet to get the word out there. So I really trusted my knowledge and experience to be able to push it out onto social media and to get enough traction that people would want to buy this thing. So that's what I did, is I invested into this. I sold so much stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I took out my 401k. I completely liquidated it to be able to fund this. We liquidated part of my husband's 401k. I told him not the whole amount because I was like, no, we can't do that. And I got a small loan from my dad to be able to make this happen. And I've since been able to pay him back, which is a really good feeling, just to be able to fund this. And 4 months after I launched, completely sold out of my 5,000 units that I had ordered. I also relied a lot on pitching, essentially speaking to groups and judges, showing what the product was and why it was worth them giving me money to be able to fund this. And so I spent several years pitching and going to these pitch competitions just for the off chance that somebody would select me to be able to move forward and get money. So last year, I won the InnoVenture Iowa Challenge, which was $40,000 that I was able to receive. And then a few months later in December, I won the InnoVenture Challenge, which is in Des Moines, for $100,000. And that was the icing on the cake to be able to receive that. So much has happened since I've launched my company, more than I've possibly imagined. For one, Disney contacted us and said, "We love your product. Can we order some?" I'm like, of course you can order some, please. And Disney's set design crews use our paint trays to be able to do all their sets and painting and all the upkeep in Walt Disney World and Disneyland, which is an incredible thing to see. I've been able to get celebrity endorsements from HGTV to Magnolia Network. And I've been able to be on TV and be on the National Weather Channel. I've had interviews with international magazines and being able to just see now my products be able to explode in the warehouse and, you know, shelves and shelves of this beyond 5,000 units. One of the biggest feats, though, was at the very end of 2023, I had the opportunity to go to pitch to Lowe's. They have a pitch competition called Lowe's Into the Blue for startups to be able to go in and pitch to them just to get your product in the door. So you had to apply online, you had to put together a video explaining who you are and why you deserve to be in Lowe's. And sure enough, they accepted my application to go pitch in person. And I'll never forget the day that I got accepted when I got that email, because earlier in the day, I had bought my first lottery ticket and I'd never bought one before. So I was like, we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. Well, my husband was putting our daughter to bed and I got that email in saying that I moved forward. And I burst into my daughter's room and I was like, I got it. And he was like, you won? Like, you won the lottery? And I was like, almost. Different lottery. I did get $8 on that ticket. So yeah, same thing. And so I got accepted to go pitch to Lowe's. And so a few months later, I flew down to North Carolina at their headquarters. And it's like a golden ticket opportunity. You pitch to a first round of judges. If they like you, they move you forward. And if you get a golden ticket, then you have the opportunity to be able to sell your product in their stores. And sure enough, I ended up getting the highest purchase order for the paint department, resulting in having my paint tray put in over 416 stores across the United States. And there were thousands of people at this event. People went and pitched and went home to nothing. In fact, I met a gentleman in the elevator after I had just got, my golden ticket, and I was like, how'd it go? And he's like, oh, maybe next year. He had flown all the way from India, and he was flying home with nothing. So it was incredible to be able to get that, and also the highest purchase order out of anybody. Then Home Depot caught noise of it and wanted to talk, and so then it was like a few months after that, I ended up flying down to Atlanta to go to Home Depot's headquarters and talking to the paint department there. And so now we sell online with Home Depot as well. Then Ace Hardware caught word, and that just happened this year. The funny thing is I had filled out their application online to be able to get our paint trays in their stores, and they said no. And then it was like a few months later, I got another email from them, and they're like, just kidding. Just kidding, we want you to be in our stores. And so this year we were just at the Ace Hardware convention in Chicago, and I can't even begin to tell you how many booths were there, thousands and thousands of people. And it's just all the Ace Hardware franchises come from all over the place to be able to see the new products and put them into their stores. So the future of Repaint Studios, right now we just have the one product, which is the standard paint tray size. It's really good for homeowners or DIYers that are, working on projects here and there. And because of all the traction that we've gotten, people are like, well, when are you gonna develop the next one? So we started working on an 18-inch tray to help with professional painters or contractors, and then also smaller trim trays for smaller projects or other hobbyists. And then on my first design, I didn't put ladder hooks on the tray, and that was simply just a selfish thing because I'm like, I hate ladder hooks. And everybody said, well, we want ladder hooks. So I designed a ladder hook that people will be able to put on their tray or take it off when they want to use it or don't want to use it. The other amazing thing is we've been able to work with a Harvard greenhouse gas reduction engineer. Again, he approached me in this situation, which was really amazing, that he was seeing what we were doing, and he's like, I want to help you because I see the environmental impact that you're having is because this is a reusable product that people can use it over and over again compared to the traditional plastic trays that people are throwing out constantly for just one little project. And so he's been able to help us come up with new engineering designs that we can hopefully bring back to the manufacturer and start building the tools again. Today, since some of this was already about a year ago, I've been able to hire 3 full-time employees and another part-time employee. We're working with the Handy Paint company. I don't know if you're familiar with them, with their Handy Paint bucket. Hopefully to be able to make a liner to fit their bucket, because again, customers are like, this thing's amazing, I like their bucket, but I like your liners better, so how can you guys work together? And then we're also working our own recycled paint line. The paint that you can kind of see in this corner, it's fully recycled. The paint, the can, the label, the handle, everything is fully recycled and manufactured out of Colorado. So essentially when people have a bucket of paint that they're like, this has been sitting in my basement for 10 years and I don't know what to do with it, they can bring it into the recycling facility. They can properly filter it through the different colors and put it through like an additional filtration system. And then they can put them back into the new cans. And so they're all pre-mixed colors, but it's all fully recycled and really amazing quality. Been able to have an office here in town, so if you've driven by the big green dinosaur, yep, that's our office. That was a whim purchase. It's actually a retired Sinclair dinosaur. Yeah, I think it's a unique way for people to be able to see our office, and yeah, so it's pretty fun. And then we're also working with QVC, if you're familiar with them, so hopefully we'll be able to launch with them hopefully in the next year or so, and also launching internationally now. We've gotten a lot of interest internationally, both in Australia, New Zealand, and in many parts of Europe and the UK. So I'm incredibly excited for that and can't wait to see where it leads.